multiply integers. So we have 3 times negative 2. It can be represented with the multiplication dot. 3 times negative 2 can be represented by parentheses. 3 groups of negative 2 or verbal 3 groups of negative 2. What it means is you have one group of negative 2. You have a second group of negative 2 and a third group of negative 2. So 3 groups of negative 2 is negative 6. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. 3 groups of negative 2. It can be represented on a number line. So it's saying starting at 0, I have one group of negative 2, a second group of negative 2, and a third group of negative 2. I'm at negative 6. So 3 times negative 2 is 3 groups of negative 2, negative 6. What about 2 times 5? That's 2 groups of positive 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. So one group of 5, a second group of 5, so I'm at 10. What if you have 3 times negative 3? That's 3 groups of negative 3. Starting at 0, I have one group of negative 3, a second group of negative 3, and a third group of negative 3. So we're at negative 9. What if you prefer using modeling? So I have one group of negative 3. One group of negative 3. Oh, goodness gracious. A second group of negative 3 and a third group of negative 3, so it's negative 9. Now so this one says 5 groups of negative 2. 5 groups of negative 2 would be negative 10. We could model it. So starting at 0, 5 groups of negative 2, one group of negative 2, second group of negative 2, third group of negative 2, fourth group of negative 2, fifth group of negative 2, so it's negative 10. And let's get to this one. What about negative 3 times 2? Remember we talk about negative. It means the opposite of. So it says, what's the opposite of 3 times 2? 3 times 2 is 6. So the opposite of 3 times 2 is negative 6. So negative means do the opposite of this. 3 times 2 is 6. Opposite is negative 6. And last but not least, what about negative 3 times negative 2? It's saying do the opposite of what's 3 times negative 2. 3 times negative 2, or 3 groups of negative 2 is negative 6. Opposite is 6. So if you don't see it, so we just look at this. 3 groups of negative 2. One group of negative 2, second group of negative 2, third group of negative 2. So 3 groups of negative 2 is negative 6. Negative mean this one right here. So do the opposite. Opposite of negative 6 is 6. How to multiply integers.